Greetings and felicitations from the black holes of Dakota Territory, United States of amateur radio. I have a ham radio story for you. I may have told this story before. I have uploaded now well over 2,000 videos to my repertoire here, and I don't necessarily remember them all, but this one is certainly worth repeating. It's about a man named Ned Carman W0ZSW from Rochester, Minnesota, harkens way back to the 1960s. 1965, 66, 67. The Rochester Amateur Radio Club had its outfit in the basement of the Olmsted County Courthouse near downtown Rochester. And I remember in the basement down there attending the club meetings and having Ned Carman speak about something he proposed to call the Handi-Hams, or the Handi-Ham system, Handi-Hams. And it was, as its name might suggest, intended for helping handicapped people, and I guess that word wasn't quite so verboten back then as it is now, but handicapped, meaning incapacitated in one way or another, get ham radio licenses and get a new way to entertain themselves. And I can vouch for that from a later injury when I was in effect handicapped myself. Ham radio proved to be immensely beneficial. He had a great idea. He was a big man, and he always used to sweat. I remember he was always sweating. And we had our ham radio station down there in the basement of that courthouse, a Drake R4 and T4X, along with an L4A, I believe it was, linear amplifier, all Drake equipment. The only finer equipment available at that time was the Collins S line of equipment. But we had the Drake equipment, which I later obtained as a birthday present from my dad or something. He was a generous dad, this guy, you know. He encouraged me, but Ned Carman was talking about this idea called the Handi-Hams. Well, for those of you who have followed history along that line, the Handi-Ham system did in fact become reality and eventually became part of the Courage Center, which I believe now is located in Golden Valley, Minnesota, a suburb of Minneapolis. But in any case, he had a good idea, and it endures to this day, and I remember the very origins of that idea and the way Ned used to talk about it, and we used to basically just sit there and listen to him. We thought it was a good idea too, but we didn't have the passion he did. I believe that W0ZSW is a club call sign now, because Ned has long since passed away. But I remember him, and I guess that dates me, doesn't it? I was first licensed in March of 1966 as WN0 Ocean Kilo Victor. You can read about the novice class license and its limited privileges back then. But I got my license and took took code courses and theory courses in the basement of that courthouse from a man named Sylvester Steele. WA0 Charlie Alpha, also long since passed away. I remember them both as if they were here yesterday. And in a way, they still are here. They're the kind of ham radio operators who endure forever because their legacy never dies. I consider myself fortunate to have known Ned. You can read about him and just Google on him. You ought to be able to come up with something. Stan Gibilisco, W1GV, da saying 73 for now, which means best regards in ham radio jargon, and so long, which means in W1GV jargon, da.